But at that time, I hadn't learned what it would be like to let yourself react to another human being. And if you can't react to another person, then there's no possibility of action or interaction. And if there isn't, I don't really know what the word love means, except duty, obligation, sentimentality, fear.
I just did a room clean simply because we have inspections here at university. But for now, I've been thinking about how I should advance Punpun. I've got a bunch of ideas, probably going to do it in a kind of chronological order. You might remember not these, but these in the corner from the previous update I did. Not those, but the ones in that little notepad. Oh, by the way, this is like all my manga collection. I don't like Rockstar, they just give it to you for free and it matched the colour of my Pyrocynical U2s. Anyway, what basically I've done recently is organised a bit of files, figured out what kind of shots I might want, gone out into town. I've got a bunch of shots. This is a certain shot, I'll put it on the screen now. I'll put it to the right. There's a bit of obviously a mismatch, because this is the UK. We don't exactly have the same exact locations as Japan, but I've been looking at what kind of like silhouettes I can do, things that would work at night and at day. I live kind of in the countryside when I go home from university, so I can take a bunch of shots towards the end of the story when they go off to, where was it? I'm gonna put it on the screen now. This is where they go off to. Because of that, I can do a bunch of countryside stuff. I can still emulate objects because this is planet Earth and many things on Earth are made very similarly. Thank, what's the name for it? Thank that for the fact that things are made similarly across the world. Makes my job easier. However, obviously I've been going out at night and taking photos and seeing how I can edit with it. This is something I put in my story before where I got a little Punpun and I've put him on the background of a very heavily threshold edited piece with a bit of a really rough texture. When you have at university a bunch of people taking posters off the wall, you have all sorts of nice displacement maps you can use for Photoshop edits. I just walk around town and I take different pictures of objects or a displacement map. Even like that looks like a fucking 3D Minecraft cobble texture. Like that's why I took photos of it. Early morning stuff because you have a certain kind of golden lighting which works really well. I also found them online in these kind of places. From these little images, I can create storyboards, and that's what I created recently, trying to figure out how I'm going to start the narrative and continue it. And starting is the hardest part, well, at least starting every little section is the hardest part, because now that I've done this one, I'm stuck on what to do for the next part. Just to get you a genuine gist of what I kind of want to do at the beginning. And I have a playlist that really helps me with choosing a song. I've got a bunch of songs, about 20 or so songs. I'm going to choose one of them. Obviously the one at the top is the one that made me make the playlist and therefore was the most likely candidate. So I've kind of been doing it around that. Though a lot of the other songs do fit with the song. I'm pretty unsure and I'm the only one choosing and I don't want to be the only one choosing. There's not exactly a panel of creators behind it, it's just me. I'm going to explain that this is kind of the beginning where you might have a sample at the start. I recently watched My Dinner with Andre and I thought a really good section of it could be useful as a sample at the beginning. This is Punpun's family. We've got Father Punpun, we've got Yuichi, you've got Punpun, you've got Mama Punpun. You've got them on a kind of famous NASA image of the moon, which I've kind of put an overlay on. You've got stars in the background. I'm going to have to do a 360 image and then try and edit that and then put as a background, like I'll explain that later, but generally I'm going to try and do a starscape and do this in Maya so that I can zoom in and out. Making the family is going to be a little bit harder. Like I'm probably going to have to make some panels and then texture those panels with transparent images of each family member or just one panel of all of them and then zoom in and out using that. You zoom out and in After Effects I'm going to zoom in with a kind of telescopic effect as if it's being watched from Earth from behind because Earth is behind them, and then you're going to cut to Punpun looking through his telescope on his balcony. Then as the song picks up a bit, Punpun's homework lays on his bed and God appears. Could be live action or it could be like fully animated. As you can see, I can generally create the scene in Photoshop itself, which is quite good. I'll show a preview of what each one should look like anyway when I edit this together. I'm probably going to do a thing where it cuts from this ice cream, which is early on in Punpun, to Yuichi smoking on the balcony with that random woman who's like, life is crazy. And he's just like, what the fuck, where you come from? But anyway, that's kind of what I did for storyboard, in terms of storyboard. And in terms of Punpun so far, I have a bunch of different projects. It took me a while to catch up on the crazy amount of views that the other Punpun videos got, despite the fact I don't even want to change anything. Like, I could make a better thumbnail for it, but I don't want to change anything. It's somehow getting views without the cool thumbnails that I normally produce, so I'm just going to leave it and let it be. I will urge you that this is my second channel as well. I do actually produce content once a fucking year on my other channel. But regardless, that's kind of the update. I also went to a charity shop and made a really bizarre purchase, because I remember the jacket that Akito, I think his name is. I'm gonna put him on screen right now. And I have a friend who looks exactly like Akito, and I'm trying to convince him to, he's on my film course, and I'm trying to convince him to actually wear it and become Akito, if I'm saying that right. The guy who's part of Pegasus's group, the cult, because he looks really like him, and having a live action actor who actually looks like the character would be really cool. Sadly, I don't really have any other actors at disposal, but what can you do about it? Just beat up actors until they conform? I mean, come on. That's the update for now. It's at early stages still, so not really much has been done, and you shouldn't expect amazing amounts, but I'm just making another update, or at least until I get new information, new visuals, and back up what I'm saying now. I will update you with that. And hopefully this video will now, it's 12 minutes recording, but I've coughed so much, it might be 8 minutes. I will cut every time I cough. Except that time. Disgusting.